All right, welcome to Watch Symposium, live stream number 2. All right, it looks like Clive is here. How's it going, Clive? And Max D. Maynard in Japan and Osaka is here. All right, are we all go? Can you guys hear me? Okay, it looks like 8 people are watching. Give me some feedback. Can you guys hear me okay? All right. Yep, hear you perfectly. Punctured Lung says, okay, right on. All right, so I got my tea back there and my toys right here. If I get a little bit bored, I might do some playing. So I've got a few topics I thought I would talk about. We may have a guest today. We'll see. But the first topic I thought I would talk about is totally random, but entry-level watches. All right, and I wouldn't say this is a huge pet peeve of mine, but yeah, entry-level watches, man. I can understand entry-level cameras, all right, because you got to work your way up to handling a camera. But do you ever really need to work your way up to handling a watch? Somebody might say that you need to work your way up to pay for a watch, but while you work your way up, you're not saving for what you really want. And so I'm all for going for someone's grail. And this kind of reminds me of a comment in one of my videos, and I think it's right here actually. So I'm going to read it. And in fact, I've got a few comments that I can rely on if topics are slim today. But where is this one? Okay, here it is. It's kind of related to this. It says, and I don't know who wrote this, but it's in the comment section of one of my videos. I'm on and off about getting an Explorer 2. I want an everyday Rolex, but at the same time, I'm saving for my second grail, an 18238 diamond dial day-date President. I could get it now, enjoy it, then flip it when I'm ready to get the day date. Okay, so get the Explorer 2 and then flip it when he's ready to get what he really wants. But I get attached to my possessions and won't want to part with it. Ideally, I'd want both, but I just don't have the financial means to do so. Well, I mean, I totally understand that. I mean, I'm not a flipper, and I get attached to watches too, even pretty bad watches that I should get rid of. I sort of form these emotional attachments to. I kind of feel like these things are living things in a way, and I've thought about getting rid of, say, my no date sub and getting a 14060M, but I seriously, I would feel like I'm betraying my first Rolex. So I understand how he feels about getting attached to watches. But again, he's got finances for one. So what does he do? Well, this is where where I think you need to save for what you want, save for your grail, and get it. And I think that's why entry-level watches and the idea of entry-level watches, it takes you off the mark for your grail. Okay, and so long term, I don't think it's a good idea, and it's a bad move. Identify what you want and go for it. And if it's a diamond dial day date, then so be it. I think a lot of people, perhaps some YouTubers that are spruiking mid-tier watches, would love to see you go that route. Would love to see you start out with something $500-ish and then go to something kind of mid-tier, kind of work your way up. But every time you do that, you're wasting your money. And so I think it's better just to look at the end goal. And if it's a day date, you got to go for the date. So yeah, entry level watches doesn't make any sense to me. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. All right, so I'm going to read some of the comments just to, you know, I'm not getting a lot of. It feels like to me that the comments aren't updating so quickly. Yep. Hey, Clive. Hope the flyover states are treating you well. Right now, what is it? Strangely enough, I just noticed today my GMT function. I've got it's supposed to be set to Greenwich Mean Time, and it's like an hour off. So it's all of a sudden useless. And I can't believe I've gone all day without fixing this. So it looks to be, well, let's see. Let's just get it as good as I can. Line up the 2 5s, the 5 on the bezel and the 5 on the indices to get Eastern Standard Time, and it appears then to be about just after 9:30 in the morning. But again, that can't be right. So it's probably 8:30 in the morning there, maybe. All right. Well, the guest, if he shows up, well, it's gonna be really early for him. So we'll see how that goes. All right. So Clive asked, what do you think of getting a watch that you actually use? I.e., you should really get a Yachtmaster if you live in a landlocked state. Okay. Okay. What do you think about getting a watch that you actually use? Okay, I thought you were making fun of me because I hoard watches. All right. But I think he's going for something different. He says, should you really get a Yachtmaster if you live in a landlocked state? Can you have a Yachtmaster if you don't have a boat? That's the thing. You know, I don't have a boat. I never get on a boat. So would I feel good about a Yachtmaster? In a way, no. I mean, I feel like I can sort of pull off. Yeah, I'm not a pilot either, right? But this is, well, yeah, I guess it is a sort of a pilot watch, but I don't know. It feels like a little bit more doable because I think it's marketed as sort of a travel watch. But yeah, the identity of a watch. I mean, if it doesn't mesh with your life, I mean, is it going to make you feel like you can't have it? That's a good question. The thing is, if you have a yacht, that's a perfect reason to get a Yachtmaster. And if you have a boat, I mean, you don't have to have a Yachtmaster, but it's a great excuse to buy a Yachtmaster. So, but if you don't have a boat, sure, you can have a Yachtmaster, but yeah, it just doesn't feel quite right. You know, I've got a sub, I've got a diving license. I haven't been scuba diving in like decades, but at least I have the license. As far as the Explorer goes, I feel like that's a travel watch. I feel like that works. But yeah, this one's the biggest stretch for me because I think it was made for pilots. But yeah, it's a good question. Well, I will say to springboard off this, he says, what do you think of getting a watch you actually use? Now, again, I thought he was sort of making fun of me because I tend to hoard watches sometimes. It's, you know, because you can gain pleasure out of hoarding a watch and kind of keeping it in its perfect state. But the question is, what for? And I saw a post on the Rolex forum, and this gentleman had found, I want to say it was like a 14060M. It was pretty much new old stock. It had been a safe queen. And he wrote, and this resonated with me. I'm going to read what he wrote about getting this from somebody like me who had hoarded it. He wrote, another interesting point is that though I plan on wearing the heck out of this watch, I totally appreciate those collectors who are guarding their safe queens. Those collectors are doing us a great service, preserving watches in pristine condition so that someone else will benefit later. someone like me buying an 8-year-old watch in essentially new condition. I'm not hoarding my watch for this dude. I'm not hoarding my watch for any dude out there. And it makes me want to use my watches. But the thing is, what am I doing it for? I guess it's sort of like, you know, the feeling of just having something perfect. And if you die and it goes to somebody who uses the hell out of it, well, I guess you're not going to really know any different. But yeah, I mean, that gave me sort of pause, because here I keep the A serial GMT so perfect, and I get great pleasure from getting it and keeping it perfect. But some dude in the future is gonna use it and use the hell out of it, and I don't know how I feel about that, you know. But it's gonna happen. So what do I do? What do I do? Do I use the hell out of it? I use the hell out of this. I want to keep that one. So that's weird. But I read that and I was like, ouch, like some dude's gonna get all the pleasure of that brand new watch someday. So I don't know. Hopefully, I don't know. That gave me pause. All right. Carlos SS says, I do not have a boat currently, but I am a yacht master, and I do not have a yacht master. I'm a recreational diver with more than 300 dives, and my only diver is a Vostok. Yeah, but you've earned the right to get a sub, and so you're not going to be desk diving yourself. Well, maybe you would be, but you've got the qualifications, right? Tree Dillinger said, get buried in it, problem solved. Yeah, I'm more of a cremation kind of guy. The idea of rotting in a box grosses me out. And I don't want anybody I love or anybody to rot in a box, or anybody that I love to imagine me rotting in a box. So cremation for me. Or buried at sea, that's great too, you know. Get dumped at sea and the fish eat you. To me, that's the closest thing to reincarnation, them using your body parts to, you know, to live, and perhaps that's what the Buddha meant when he talked about reincarnation. Anyway, bit off topic. Cremated and pressed into a diamond. Yeah. I mean, it's not going to matter to you, right? Yeah, you know, I got to be honest. Like, cremation's it's feasible, and it's doable. We don't just chuck our dead in a hole. But if that was the way it was, I would be happy to just be dumped in a hole, covered up, and I would be very happy for the worms to eat me, because, like I said, I think that's one of the closest things to reincarnation, kind of getting this back into the system. You know, I long story, I'll spare you, but I lived in the Czech Republic for a time, and I buried a cat there. And one of my greatest regrets is I wrapped it in a plastic bag before I buried it. And I've always regretted that, because I thought, you know, it's going to take just such a long time for that material to get back into nature. And I almost feel like I deprived that cat of re-entering the, you know, the natural world. So if I'm ever back in the Czech Republic, I got to stop by that courtyard and dig up that little kitten. Yeah. Kitten died in childbirth, by the way. Anyway, we're all over the place today. Paul is here. Hey, nope, you're just on time. You just missed the religious ramblings. That's all. All right. Marcel, see, I'm seeing a watch brand mentioned, so let's read this. He says, not sure if Sen meanwhile makes watches that even survive a cremation. I don't think really any watch can be expected to survive a cremation. When is the next drunk stream? Oh man, hopefully never. There was Oktoberfest here, and I went with my daughters. It was 2 days. It was a weekend, and the first day I had one beer, and the second day I had one beer. I gotta say I did it right. I did it right. It was amazing. I didn't feel hungover the next day. I sort of enjoyed the taste of the beer. Had a little bit of the nice drunk feeling on the way back, but there was no ill effects. So yeah, that was nice. I was proud of myself. All right, Ulysses and Tag as well as Hublot. Okay. Oh yeah, Maynard, Japan. I remember waking up to Maynard in Japan. His messages, you got to take down your live stream, and oh yeah, that was man. I can't talk about it. PTSD. I've got PTSD if I talk about that. Paul, you have an extra win from me. All right, maybe we'll have a beer or two every now and then, but yeah, I could get the not tonight. Not tonight. All right, let's see. What else do we have? I've got a few other comments that I thought I could read. And of course, we'll see if they're any good. Pretty random. But one guy wrote, and this is just, I went down my comment section. I just plucked some of the interesting comments I thought I could talk about a little bit. And this one's totally random, but he says, there is no such thing anymore as wearing an everyday Rolex in Amsterdam if you want to stay healthy. Yeah, apparently, according to Guido and news stories, Amsterdam is just people are attacking people with Rolexes in the center of Amsterdam. It's really incredibly dangerous place to wear a watch. When I was there, I had, it was the winter, so I had there was always a coat or a sweater over my watch. But if I were to go in summer, that would be tough. I mean, part of me says, like, I would hate to not wear my watch, and I feel a little bit like a wuss. But man, just walking around like this in the center of Amsterdam, you're asking for it, especially if you're by yourself. So that's tough. I think the Tudor could be a good option there. But something like a GMT, a sub, boy, I think you'd be asking for it. And it's a shame that there's some places like that. And it makes me very thankful that I live in a pretty safe area. Some places in Italy, they'll take them right off your arm apparently. So that's tough. Clive asks, Oktoberfest in Japan, are those two countries still collaborating? Well, yeah, they are. From time to time. Next, later. Okay, now in the last video that I uploaded like an hour ago, which is a shopping video, I mentioned that in that video that you gotta, well, you have to be careful if you don't care about this kind of thing, but you'll notice every now and then here in Japan that tritium that has started to patina, the hands will be a lighter color, and it's sort of a dead giveaway that the hands have been replaced by luminova, and that's the kind of hands you're going to get if you take a patinaed tritium dialed watch to RSC and they needed to change the hands in some way. If you got cracked hands or the tritium in your hands are cracked, they're going to replace them. They don't have tritium, so they're going to give you the luminova hands. And you see that here in Japan. You'll see the patina is starting, and then you'll see these bright white hands. And this gentleman here, DK, I want to say, or DY was his name, he wrote, lighter tritium hands are quite the norm for 90s Rolex. Irony is that matching hands are more likely to have been replaced to match color or colored by a watch tech to match. Cheers. Oh, okay. So, yeah, I I got to question this comment, and it's particularly dangerous, I think, because people are going to see a 90s Rolex that has a matching dial and matching hands and think, oh, it's been colored. That's a bad one, but the one with lighter hands, that's the good one. And so I really push back on this comment. I don't see why tritium, the tritium hands wouldn't age in the same way as the dial. Anyway, I read the guy back and asked him to clarify. I haven't gotten anything from him, but that seems off to me. And yeah, matching hands and dial. I mean, that's what you want. And yeah, so I think he's actually saying it's the opposite of what he's saying. All right. Okay. All right. Tree Dillinger says, you still need a jacket in Amsterdam in summer. Ormsgets is like 60 and rainy. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's good. Knowing me, I probably would be like this. And I tend to get hot pretty easily. So I can imagine that I would be pretty happy walking around with this. But yeah, excuse to cover your watch. That could be useful. All right. And James Granby writes, hi, Austin from Hong Kong. Have you encountered variation in accuracy depending on the position of watch overnight, i.e. faster, stored flat, slower, vertical? My Datejust 36 does this, and I use it to keep it accurate. Yeah, I haven't really noticed that it works so well. This watch, when I set it down, it tends to speed up. Like about 2 seconds, I want to say, maybe 3 seconds. But if I wear it, it's about a half a second fast a day. And so I can't explain that. I don't know why. So I've sort of tried to experiment with it a bit. It seemed, I for a while I thought it worked, and then I'm back. NATO Steve used to watch my channel. I don't know if he's around or not, but he indicated that this doesn't work anymore on modern Rolexes, and I tend to agree. And I made a video about this a while back, and it's interesting because the positioning, ideally, it's a better thing if there's no variation in position. I mean, technically speaking, when it comes to the technical qualities of the watch, that's something you would want. You don't want any variation, right? But it's that ability to, well, it's that handicap that it has, that it tends to change via positions that makes it so you could position those older watches and gain and lose time. And so it's kind of like, thank you, Rolex, for making these more consistent, but it comes at a price. Now I can't position it and keep it dead on. I have to actually reset it. That was sort of a positive thing. That was a good thing. But yeah, so yeah, that's kind of one reason why older vintage watch and my grandfather's watches. Yeah, I remember the Wedgfield. I could regulate like that. And I wore that watch for something like a month, and it was dead on because I was regulating it. And you can't do that with a modern Rolex anymore, I want to say. And they don't put that little piece of paper in there anymore. And I think it's because it doesn't really work. I don't really think it really works with this, but I just noticed that when I wear it to bed, it just seems more accurate than when I put it down. I don't know, but it would be nice to be able to regulate like that. All right. So JY, he says, I watched your new video on watch shopping. You should be a guide once a month for people that want to buy a used Rolex in Tokyo. I bet if you marketed well, it would work. That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, that would be kind of fun to do. Yeah, I'll have to give that some thought. A guide, yes, a watch guide. No, knowing Japan, I don't know. You'd probably need some sort of qualification to do it. I don't think you could just start throwing things up. I'm a guide, and I don't think they'd let you get away with it. They might, but things are pretty well regulated here, and there tends to be a proper educational channel to get you to that profession, and to jump the line, and it could cause some problems. But yeah. All right. What's another interesting comment that I came across? Well, I was thinking about Archie and his quintet of dress watches, and I'm of the mind that it's, he just is passionate about it, and it's just what he likes, and maybe it's sort of a horological midlife crisis, and it's like, I like Patek, and yeah, they're not as flippable, but you got to do what you got to do, and you like what you like, and I'm just gonna enjoy it and not worry about the flippability of it, and that's what where I think he's coming from. But there was a comment, and this commenter said, I think we'll look back and see that Archie made a genius move selling all Rolex at the top of the market. Patek is the pinnacle of all Swiss watches. Patek is what Rolex wants to be but can't. Patek is pure class without the show. Patek is what rich people wear. Rolex is what wannabe rich people wear. No offense. Right? Oh yeah, no offense. I'm just a total wannabe. That's all. Yeah. Okay. So I don't think it was the right time for him to sell that. I think, if he had kept it 5 years, he could have gotten more for it. If he sold it 10 years from now, he would have gotten more for it. 20 years, he would have gotten more for it. Now the question is, who's going to be around in 20 years? And that's always a factor that we have to factor in as we age. But was it a genius move? Well, for that particular model, I mean, if he had sold a Pepsi or a BLNR, I would say totally genius move, because it is the pinnacle of prices, I think, for those. And they're still making those. We don't know what the future is going to be, and if they do meet demand, and the prices are gonna fall. And yeah, but that's not a particularly strong model that he sold. I think it's the fact that it could be a sleeper in the future, and so I don't think he sold it at the right time. So I have to disagree with this. As far as Patek being the pinnacle, I guess I agree with that. I think they're sort of the top of the Trinity, the Holy Trinity. I think they're the top brand, and yeah, I would agree with that. Patek is what Rolex wants to be. Well, that sounds like some Paul Thorpe speak, and I again don't know if I buy that. I mean, if you're of the Thorpean theory, if you think that it's everything is calculated, and the the withholding of models, it's to try to be like Patek, right? Yeah, if you believe that they just can't keep it in stock, and that it's nothing nefarious or calculated, it's just hugely popular, and that 10 years ago the Chinese, they were buying gold watches, and they were buying the gold Pateks that Archie's buying now, and they were buying the day dates, and now everybody worldwide is on the same page, steel sports. And so if everybody all of a sudden has changed their conception of like what are the top watches in the culture, then that could explain it right there. And so yeah, I don't know that Rolex wants to be anybody but Rolex. They're doing pretty damn well. the way they are. Do they want to be Patek? Yeah, I don't think they do. I think if they wanted to be Patek, they could change the Cellini line and have display case backs, have more hand decoration, hand done things, you know, lower number of pieces just for the Cellini. I think that they could make the Cellini line more Patek-esque, and that could be probably successful. But they're not doing that. I don't think that they really have any designs on being Patek. I mean, Patek is popular among watch people, but Rolex is popular among everybody, and you know, they're a household name. I don't think Patek wants to be like Rolex. I don't think they could be like Rolex. They don't and can't make the number of watches. But yeah, I'm not of the agreement that Rolex is sort of aiming for anything other than just staying where they are and protecting their brand, and yeah. So there you go there. Another commenter wrote in regards to Archie, AC3 is bidding all his money on dress Pateks being the big thing in China after the SS Sport Rolex heatwave. Boy, I don't think he's thinking that, and I think if he is thinking that, he's gonna have a rude awakening. I don't think. I think the day of the dress Patek, I think it's gone. It's still, they're still beautiful watches, and I think he likes them for what they are. But I think the future is steel pieces, because of the usability, and I think everybody sort of has their everybody's sort of on the same page worldwide, and the thing is, how would it change? Okay, now back, if you looked at, like, 20 years ago or maybe 50 years ago, when certain cultures really appreciated the steel sports watches, and then other cultures appreciated the blingy gold watches, you could see that through certain situations, the gold watches could just sort of overtake the world and become, sort of what steel sports watches, Rolexes are today. But it didn't go like that. And here we are. We're all connected to each other. We're all, oh, my guest is here. And I'm going to get him in just one second. Let me finish this thought real quick. But that, we're all connected to the internet. We're all, bouncing. It's a big worldwide echo chamber, and Rolex is what is being echoed. And so to get that, from that to change back into sort of the fragile, precious metal watches, I don't think it'll ever happen. All right. My guest is a man of, well, what can you say about crappy luxury? I can't really introduce the guy because I don't know him so much. I'm trying to click on his thing right now. We'll let him introduce himself. So, Crappy, how are you?
Well, good morning, everybody. Hello there, Austin. It's 6:30 in the morning here in Portland, Oregon. 10:30 p.m. in Tokyo. Are you in Tokyo?
Yes.
Right.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for, getting up early to do this. Do you usually get up at 6:30 in the morning?
No, I usually get up around 7:30 or so, but I got up early, so I figured, yeah, why not? It's okay. Sure.
All right. Well, appreciate you being on. You're my first guest, so this is a monumental occasion. Yeah.
You couldn't do any better than me?
I'm working my way up.
Oh, okay. Well, then you're starting at the right place then.
I'm just kidding, but well, I know that you're done with the Archie live streams.
That's correct. Yeah.
And so I thought, why not? You're free. Before we talk about watches, I want to get into watches. Okay, let me just ask you about what happened, because Archie was pretty upset about that, and it seemed like he read an email from you saying you don't want to do the live streams anymore.
Yeah, that's correct.
All right. So why was he so upset about that? Because if you just said, hey, I don't want to do the live streams anymore, what was the deal? Like, what?
Oh,
was
yeah,
there?
sure. Well, I sent him an email, so I guess this is 3 or 4 days ago. I'd have to look at it to be precise. But he kept sending me the link for his live streams by email, and I didn't usually go on. So in fact, I wondered, why is he sending me a link for the live streams? I've never asked him to send me the link. So I thought that was, well, whatever. Okay, so, but the 3 or so times that I did go on his show, after about 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes, each of the 2 or 3 times that I was on, he said, "Boy, he was talking to the other guests, and he said, "Boy, you really are a whiner. Jesus, you just whine." So already, 2 minutes on the show, I'm being insulted for being a whiner, and I don't consider myself a whiner at all. So I thought, well, that's just his typical humor, just insulting. And and then after about 3 minutes each time, he says, "Okay, I think we've had enough of craft beer," and click, he would just, disconnect me from the live stream. So after about 3 visits, I thought, well, there's no point in being on the live stream if he's just going to hang up on me.
Okay.
And and also I thought, I'm not really interested in being on the live stream anyway, so I don't really care. Okay. So so I sent him an email. And but I was getting very, very sick of all the same routine over, because I've watched him, since he came on 10 years ago, and there are moments here and there which are hysterically funny. Even more so, some of the great comments are really, really funny. I mean, laugh out loud funny,
Right. Yeah.
So they're funny, humorous, really insanely, comedic comments, and so that's part of the attraction to keep coming back to his channel. But anyway, I just felt like I'm burned out on Archie, and there's nothing he offers that's new. It's every show is exactly the same.
But so it sounds like the really what it was is you didn't feel like you were respected when you got on his show.
Well, yeah, but if he doesn't want me on, why send me the link? That doesn't make any sense, Right. So if you don't want someone on the show, then why send them the link? So I just felt, well, I'm just sick of the whole Archie thing anyway, all the hatred and the screaming, and I'm broke. Please send me thousands of dollars. I'm broke. And then he's flying, regularly, frequently, Brisbane to Hong Kong, to back to Sydney, back to Bangkok, back to Brisbane, on to Melbourne, and back to Bangkok, Hong Kong. If you looked at this guy's passport, you'd think you'd think he's a heroin dealer or something.
Well, he does. Yeah, he does fly a lot. So well, it seems like you, you've got a bit of a different personality than those guys. And I don't know if you kind of joke as much. And I'm not saying you're sensitive or anything, but those guys razz each other pretty hard.
Well, there's trolling. Yeah, there's trolling, which is funny. It's humorous. And it's good natured. And then there's just drenched, sweating hatred.
Right.
With personal attacks, and that's not funny at all. And there's no need for that. So trolling, yeah, sure, that's fun. And it's supposed to be funny.
But you felt it crossed the line at certain times.
Yeah, there are times when Archie's real personality, I think, comes out where, especially after he's had some drinks. One of the classic, or one of the prime examples, is the episode where
the 36 millimeter.
The 36 mil, when Clive the Wrangler was a co-host, was guesting.
Yeah,
and Archie was really getting drunk, and And I don't
Right.
think it takes him much to get drunk. Two shots of scotch, and he's gone. You know, and
Well,
Clive,
that's with the 2 bottles they had before lunch. So
yeah, exactly right. Yeah, and
no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's interesting because I think, you know, one of the reasons why I like Archie, and you know, a lot of these like sort of watch guys, his cardinals, is because there is a certain amount of personality there, and so it's not just straight watch talk. In fact, if it was just straight watch talk, I think it would be kind of boring. I mean, I think there's a balance. I think you have to have some banter, but then some substantive watch talk, and maybe, you know, sometimes that watch talk sort of takes a backseat to the banter. But
yeah,
yeah,
well, I
so,
agree with that. You know, but how many times can you talk about? Well, it used to be Man on the Moon and Explorer 2. Man on the Moon. No matter what anybody pays him for a review or a suggestion, it's Man on the Moon and Explorer 2. That went on for years. And how
yeah,
many
yeah.
times, you know. So it's just, gets repetitive and
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but in his defense, you know, he likes what he likes, and I imagine some people could lodge the same complaints at me. Whatever I would recommend would probably be Rolex, and so after years of that, I can imagine people saying like, this guy's just like a Rolex bot, and just that's all he can say.
yeah. So I was watching some other live streams and I saw people talking about Archie really hates crappy luxury, and I screamed at him or something. I thought, what are these people talking about? You know, I didn't see that. So I
Mhm.
went back and looked at one of his live streams from yesterday or 2 days ago, and he opened up the show where he said, "I just got an email from Crappy Luxury," and for the first 3 or so minutes, he said,
That's the one that I saw.
yeah,
Yeah, I
right.
saw that. Mhm.
And he said, "Well, fuck him, the fucking cunt." And there's who needs him? Fuck off. He said, "Oh, so the letter really." You see, I don't know why, because if I'm just a whinger and a whiner, and such a nobody, why does he give a shit?
Well, I think you know, I can't speak for him, but I think he takes. It seems like he takes the live streams pretty seriously, and so it's sort of like if you're on board with the live streams, um, you're golden. But if you're not, and you don't participate, then he doesn't make money, and so that's like the biggest sin. I mean, think of you know, when Clive takes off or is doing his own thing or is
Right.
not participating, he gets pretty pissed about that. So yeah, so I guess my guess is just that the fact that you didn't want to participate anymore, you know,
Well, I can
that pissed him off.
read you the very short email exchange, but it was basically,
Yeah, that's
I'm
okay.
not
Don't worry
interested.
about it.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
I just wanted to add before we got on the watches. I just thought I would throw that out there in case people were curious about it. I know I was,
Yeah,
but I think you explained it well.
I feel freed or relieved of the Archie compulsion to watch his videos. It's fantastic. It's just
Well, who knows?
it's been taken away from me. Yeah.
Well, you know, who knows? Like in a month, like you might be back on the show. So, and
No,
I'm
no.
sure.
Yeah.
Well,
But okay.
it's
Yeah.
up to you. But all right, well, let's talk watches. So you are in the market for a good watch.
That's
Yes.
correct. Yeah.
Okay. And so I think I know what you've got. You've got the Victorinox watch,
Yeah.
infantry watch.
Victorinox Swiss Army. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And that's like a $500 watch, but you got it from Joma Shop
Yeah. It
for.
retails. The MSRP is $399,
Uh-huh.
and I got it at Joma Shop 2 or 3 years ago for $199.
All right. All right.
So I
Yeah.
mean, great deal, and it's a terrific watch. Yeah.
Well, you know, if you'd asked me like a month or two ago, I don't know how I'd feel about it, but like I sort of have a new respect for quartz because I got the Timex Q,
Mm-hmm.
which you know about that watch. Yeah, I think you're not keen on the way it looks, right?
Oh, I love the way it looks. It's a very, very nice looking watch. Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah.
can't. Maybe it was a different person that wasn't too keen on it, but so yeah, just like a modest quartz watch. It's sort of I don't know. I kind of understand them a bit more. And there's something sort of interesting that you've worn that watch for years.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm really just a one watch. Buy a watch, and that's your watch. You know, I'm not
Yeah.
a collector. If I
Well,
were a very, very wealthy guy, then that could be different. But yeah,
well,
just
yeah.
find one
At
watch.
at at heart, I'm a one watch guy as well.
Yeah,
Which yeah, I'm just trying to sort of be happy with one watch. I think that's the hardest thing when you're a watch guy.
yeah.
You get tired of being with the same watch. It's yeah. All right. So and now you're kind of taking donations, and I think you have something like $300 to $400 in
Well,
donations.
the latest number is $521. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so do you have like a goal money wise for donations
Well,
before you pull the
yeah.
trigger?
If I achieve up to let's say just about 1,000.
Uh-huh.
Okay, which I may not get any more, or I might get more. You know, if I achieve up to 1,000, then I would be prepared to buy a watch at the lower range of 1 to 2,000. Okay,
Okay. All right.
but if I'm able to still find people who are willing or glad to make donations to the channel, then I would hold off and wait, and if more money came in, then I would move up to a Mont Blanc, or
Mm-hmm.
if more came in, which would mean several thousand, 3 or 4,000, then I could afford a Rolex, and in that case, it would be the Oyster Perpetual 39 in white,
All
and
right.
that would be the upper range. Yeah.
Well, I'm a big proponent of waiting and getting something really worth waiting for. So, but as far as you go, like, do you have a brand that you like the most?
I like Oris a lot. I think
Uh-huh.
it's a terrific brand. Their slogan is "Real watches for real people." Now I know that's just advertising nonsense, but
Mm-hmm.
it's to me that strikes closer to me than the Patek. It's not something that you own. You only take care of it for the next generation. Well, that's just a snooty, you know, bullshit for Rolls Royce owners, and I'm not taking care of anything for the next generation. I want to watch
Well, if
for
you don't have
myself,
kids, yeah,
so yeah.
that's a way to get dads to say, spend a little bit of money on themselves and justify it. It's actually for the kid.
Yeah, so Oris is, it's definitely, in my opinion, it's another step up from Tissot or Hamilton category,
Okay.
and
So you like
it's
Boris.
very good products, and they look really nice, and it's a very good company. So,
Do you have any special affinity for Rolex, or is Oris right up there with
no,
Rolex
Rolex
for you?
is way up the ladder, of course. I'm not really a Rolex guy. I've never
Uh-huh.
been a Rolex guy, and because a large part of my thinking is so many people. I mean, there's a core of Rolex lovers, there's no question, but
Mm-hmm.
there's so many people, again, in my opinion, buy Rolex because they have money, and they're basically just a douchebag, and they go, "Oh, I'm going to get a Rolex." And I've seen this. They go to the Beverly Hills or Century City in LA store, and uh, they got unlimited amounts of money because they come from different countries, which there's no need to mention. And
Right.
the money means nothing, and they buy a Rolex, and they don't even know what the hell it is, and they're
Yeah, well,
25 years old, and
yeah, that's
so
the liability of Rolex when it's a
yeah,
household name. You get people that are not really watch people getting
yeah,
it, and
right,
then the
yeah.
people that are watch people sort of suffer for it because a lot of people think you just have it because of the name or the
Yeah,
FF
but I
factor
think
or not.
a large part of the Rolex ownership uh, uh, profile is a lot of people are lemmings. They just say Rolex, Rolex, Rolex. I got to have a Rolex. Can't get an Omega. I can't get a whatever. I can't get a Zenith. I got to get a Rolex, Rolex. And there's thousands of
Well,
watches to choose from. And thousands and thousands. And
yeah, I think it comes out. A lot of people just don't have enough interest in watches, and so it's sort of like when they do get money and they're getting their Louis Vuitton bag and they're getting their whatever tie and
yeah, right,
shoes.
yeah,
It's like, let's just go with the Rolex because everybody knows that. Go straight to the Rolex store and
exactly,
pick up
yeah.
usually a two-tone piece. All right. So,
But I did change my opinion when I tried on last month. I was in Seattle looking at watches, and I did try on at the Rolex boutique at Oyster Perpetual in white.
mhm,
And the second I put it on, I thought, well, that's it. This watch is fantastic. So, but that was because of I sought it out through research, and I compared thousands of watches online, and then when I finally tried it on, I thought, well, this is fantastic. It's really great,
right.
So if I
All
do
right. Well,
buy
yeah.
that, it's because I really wanted it. Yeah, I do want it. Yeah.
If somebody came and said like, what watch should I get? I think my number one question would be what brand speaks to you the most, and then go for that. So if Oris is it for you, I would say Oris might be the way to go.
Mm.
But let me ask you, do you want to go pre-owned or new?
Well, if I get an Oris, those are available on Joma Shop as low as about 1,200. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And for an MSRP of maybe 1,800. So there would be no reason to buy a used one if I'm paying 1,000 or 1,200, because
mm-hmm.
it's a new watch. So why at that price pre-owned doesn't make any sense. And Hotzi, hi, I see your comments. I'm looking at everybody's comments. So yes, there's already some trolling going on there against me. Here we go, personal attacks, but whatever. Okay.
Well, welcome to the internet.
Well, welcome to the depths of the internet. Yeah. So, what was I saying?
But whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I got to be honest. We're going to get back to watches in a second.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when I started making videos, it's sort of like I saw the worst that people could do, and once I saw that initial, volley of attacks, it's like that's it. All right, cool. And it doesn't sort of bother me anymore. Yeah, I mean, I've got my pet peeves and stuff, and things that'll kind of sort of trigger me with comments, and usually it's stupidity and illogical comments. But as far as the attacks to me, I don't know. Maybe you'll get over it, but I've found this sort of I don't know. I feel a bit stronger for it, because when I did start making the videos, I thought, yeah, am I gonna be able to do this? Am I gonna be able to handle it? And so I'm surprisingly happy that I was, and so I feel if you continue to do this, I think you'll probably.
So what I find amazing about the watch YouTubers, or everybody who watches the watch channels, is not necessarily the same person, but every day there's new videos on watches from hundreds and hundreds of watch YouTubers. And it's like, yeah, it's an interesting topic, and but how much can people talk about watches, especially Rolex, day after day after day? The things I'm the most enthusiastic about, I don't talk about them for 3 hours a day, every day it's just an amazing place on YouTube for discussing a Rolex Submariner every day for the last 10 years. It's really something.
Yeah. I think when I started the channel, I don't know if I thought I'd be doing it for years. I thought I might get it out of my system, and I could see getting bored with it and stopping. But it's like just the interest is kind of continued with me, and it's usually I'll think of something, and it's like, oh, I got to make a video about that. But I think when if I were to try to transition into really trying to make money and do this full time or something like that, I would probably start to despise it, or to hate it, and doing like watch reviews and stuff. But yeah, it is amazing. Sometimes it sort of surprises me that I'm still making these videos about watches. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Right.
And
well, yeah, for some people, it becomes a compulsion. There's no question about it. And for example, one of the regular guys out there who, is frequently, on all the different channels talking, he went from 4 years ago, just one watch, to now he has 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 watches. You know who I'm talking about. And,
I'm guessing Clive, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. And So numbnuts himself, Pluta, he has a compulsion about watches, and I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that, so to speak, but if you have the money, then enjoy it. It's your money, But it's funny how people just get into it, and they just
Oh,
like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, my first good watch was a no date sub, and the plan was that was going to be my one watch. So, I mean, I, well, I say I'm a one watch guy at heart. Maybe I just want to be a one watch guy, but it seems to me like you want to be a one watch guy. I totally respect that. I hope it works out for you. I wasn't able to do it. What happened to me is like, oh, I got to have a date, and so I got a Rolex with a date, and then you sort of tend to justify it, and then I need to watch for this situation, or I always loved this watch when I was a kid, so I got to, and the next thing you know is this endless cycle, and even now it's like I still every day think about sort of the next piece, and at the same time knowing like it's just ridiculous, like when it'll never stop. So you kind of have to, at least for me, I have to sort of say, okay, I'm making a conscious effort to just really
it's
like what I have and be happy with what I have, and not go down this path, because it's a slippery slope, I think.
Yeah, what I found amazing in the beginning when I started watching the channels is, let's say a person buys, Submariner, and then they go, gee, there's no date on here. I love the watch, but I'm going to get a Submariner with a date. They go, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have two.
Yeah.
And I guess that's okay. But then they go, gee, now there's a green one, green bezel one. Gee, I got to get that one. Then they got a green dial one, and they go, gee, I got to get that one. And then Rolex makes a blue one. And they go, oh my God, I got to get that one. And then they make one with red writing on it, the same Submariner, but it's got one or two lines in red. They go, oh my God, I got to get that one. And then they've got one in black and brown. And they're all basically they're the same watch, give or take,
Right.
And
Yeah.
to me, it's like you buy a Honda Accord EX, and then you realize, Jesus, they have an EX, an LX, an SX. So you go back to the dealer and you buy all three of them. And then you have three cars, but each one has some little different, additional
Mm-hmm.
features. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I think it was, I think in the back of my mind, I am trying to find the perfect watch that just obliterates all horological desires.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it doesn't exist, because I think I've kind of, it's the closest with this watch, because it's sort of the aesthetics are there. It's got
what is that? What is that?
That's a GMT Master 2.
Right. Okay.
And just hold it up. It's
so is that a Coke? I can't see.
This is a Pepsi.
Right. Okay.
Right now.
Yeah.
There you go. You can see it better now.
Well, that watch covers everything.
Well, yeah. See, that's the thing. So it's got the date. It looks sub-esque. It's got the extra time zone, and it's got the rotating bezel, unlike an Explorer 2, so you can use it as a timing bezel.
Right.
So this should be the watch for me, but it's not. I mean, it is, but it isn't. You know what I mean? It's not. I still find myself looking at other things, like a sea dweller or something like that. So I'm glad I got this watch, because it was a great experiment on my part to see, like, this is the perfect watch for you. So is it going to work? Are you going to be able to be completely at peace with yourself? And the answer is no. So I think a lot of people, they think that their perfect watch is this one over here, and it's usually something absurdly expensive, like several, I don't know, $50,000 watch. And I think, well, if it was that watch, it would be fine. They never get that watch. They never realize that this watch wouldn't do it for them.
Yeah,
but I got the Grail, and I realized. So yeah, I realized that it's a
listen. If people have if people have the money and they want to buy and they want to amass a collection of watches that they're intrigued with or really love, then that's fine. I would collect other things, but hey, that's just totally harmless, as long as they're not spending all their money and not buying curtains for their kid. It's okay. you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's no problem. So yeah.
All right. So
Now, do you Austin? Do you feel now that you have the Pepsi? Do you feel a craving or burning desire that you need to get the root beer or the Coke
uh,
or any of the
well,
other variations?
I mean, I can change the bezel insert on this, and
Right.
so I can. In fact, I'm going to do that next week. I'm going to make it a Coke.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. But do I feel well? Yeah. I mean, I've looked at the Pepsi and thought, yeah, that's kind of cool. I mean, it's vintagey and it's got an interesting look to it. I'm not a two-tone guy,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't think I would. I like that watch, but I don't think I'd actually use it. I just don't think I don't mesh with gold. I just don't think it's sort of like an aesthetic that I like, or it doesn't project what I want to project, and so I can't see actually wearing or liking that watch more than this. But yeah, I've been tempted by that watch before.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Can I ask you a couple questions about
Sure.
your being in Japan? Where do you live in Tokyo? What area?
That I don't want to go into it, but I
Oh,
live in
right. Yeah. Okay. Right.
Tokyo.
How long have you been in Japan?
In Japan, I want to say about 14 years.
Really? How's your
Yeah.
Japanese fluency?
It's all right. Yeah, it's all right. My wife speaks Japanese. We speak Japanese to each other. Actually, when the kids were born, I kind of switched to English for them. But I used to
Right.
speak
Very good.
Japanese all the time to her.
Have you traveled through the whole country?
Kind of bits and pieces of it. I've been to every island, but not.
Mhm.
I've missed a few cities, I think.
What one or two cities, big or small, would you say are your personal favorites for various reasons that you love the most?
Yeah, I mean they each got their their good points. I mean, Hokkaido is sort of it's up north and it's beautiful and crisp, and you get the snow and the Sapporo brewery is a great to drink beer in that kind of atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
I would say and then you've got Okinawa, so if you like diving and snorkeling, then that's great. But you're just saying in general.
Yeah. What two cities, say, for sentimental reasons or something about them, you just really enjoy them the most? Yeah.
Fukuoka in
Really?
Kyushu. So I lived there for a number of years. Yeah, and I always thought it was the perfect size city. It's just 1 million people,
Right.
and so it sort of feels like it feels like a big city. There's a subway, but everything's really easy to navigate, and you have everything there. And the shopping is great if you like that kind of thing, and there are clubs and nightlife places, and so it's just like it's like everything that a big city has, but it's sort
Sure.
of smaller, more manageable. So that's great. But then I got to say I love Tokyo as well, because there's everything here. Things that I haven't really even gotten into yet. I mean, there's a place to do just surfing in a pool. That's one of the things I want to do. And it's like, oh, that's cool. Or you just name it. They've got
I lived in Tohoku and Hokkaido, but I traveled the whole country basically, or most of the country, and it's the best place to live. I had the most wonderful time living there. It was just great.
Oh, so that's where you
And I regret
Uh-huh.
almost daily having come back to the U.S. I was really conflicted about should I stay or is it time to go back, but I made the poor decision. I'd have been very happy just staying there forever. Yeah.
How long were you here?
3 years.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
And just the best. Yeah.
It is.
So do you think Japanese women in business or socially care about the man's watch? And if so, are they more impressed with a Grand Seiko or a Rolex when they look at the man?
Good question. All right. I think, okay, so I think women in general, not just Japanese women, but I think women in general sort of respect, a man that appears to make enough money to take care of himself and possibly a future spouse for obvious reasons, right? And so I think there's some women that might go for the fact that you have a Rolex watch as like an indication that you've got cash and that you might be able to take care of her. I think some women might think you're a bit of a douche for buying one, because I think some women, I think my wife would fall in this category, thinks that Rolexes, I think, probably are a little bit cliche.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's for a lot of reasons. I mean, for a lot of people, it is a very cliche buy. It's like, yeah, I've got the money, just like we mentioned before. And hey, what do you get? We get the watch. What watch do you get? You got to get a Rolex. You go to the Rolex, you get the 210 Datejust or something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and so I get lumped in with those people. I don't feel like I am one of those people, but I feel like I'm sure that people probably look down and say, oh, what a douchey thing to spend your money on, or they think you're doing it so you can sort of look like the big baller or something like that. And that's one of the reasons I hate two-tone watches and gold. Again, that's the thing I don't want to project, and so that's why I gravitate to steel pieces. But I think there are a lot of women that probably would look at you in that light.
Well, Japanese people of all ages and of the 57 genders, the compulsion or the addiction or just the climate of buying expensive brand name products, like you see 12-year-old kids wearing Burberry mufflers and bags, and it's just amazing, But I think buying a Grand Seiko would be a much different message than buying a Rolex to Japanese people, especially a business, your boss or women, and it would show them how much you love Japan and you want to be a part of it, and that you respect it so much. And I think that would really have a nice meaning to those people.
Yeah,
because obviously
so.
for the same price, obviously you could buy a Rolex, but you chose, one of the finest Japanese products that they're proud of, and it would have more meaning than a Rolex, I think.
Yeah. There's a lot of different factors to it as well. I mean, is there gold in the watch? I mean, so if this was a two-tone, it would project something completely different.
Yeah, right.
And to go back to your question, I think it depends on what subculture you're talking about. I mean, if you're talking about sort of a materialistic gyaru, the term, culture where they're into the makeup and clothes and contacts, and just the more brands the better. This wouldn't do it. No, they'd want the gold diamond dial Datejust. The more bling the better. And in fact, if I did have a more off watch, they'd say, oh, the t-shirt, like, is this a brand t-shirt? So those type of women, I think, exist. And then you've got sort of the more regularly the teachers and the women not working in the entertainment industry, not working as hostesses, those type of women that are working in the entertainment industry are obviously going to be, they're doing that kind of job because they really like, the cash that they can get and to get to buy these things. And of course, then they're going to be attracted to the guys that who have more money than anything, and that's going to be the defining factor.
Yeah, right.
And so whereas if you look at somebody like a bank teller or a teacher or I was going to say a nurse, but I think it depends on the nurse, obviously. But somebody who has more of like a career. As opposed to something that they studied for and they did, I think that they're probably looking for something more meaningful than just the bankroll that the guy has. And so I think, how would they feel about it? Again, I don't think they would be attracted to a gold Rolex, but I don't even think they would notice this Rolex. And I think if they did, they would probably say, "That's a nice watch."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I think if they found out, you had a couple of them, they might question your money managing matters, and they might say, "I don't know if I'm going to want a guy that does this. Is this going to stop?"
Yeah. Can I ask you, what state are you from in the U.S.?
I'm from Virginia.
Virginia, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And one thing I enjoyed shopping for in Japan, because you have to wear a suit for the most cases in Japan, is ties, men's ties. And when you go to Mitsukoshi or Seibu or any men's store, the amount and the quality and selection of ties is just mind blowing. And the quality is just totally way above like going to Macy's or something like
Mhm.
that. But that's really for every category of product. The selection is just unbelievable. Yeah.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I mean, it's a consumer culture for sure. You know, they
Yeah.
love their brands and yeah. How long ago were you here?
Early 2000s.
Okay, all right. So yeah, about 19 years ago, almost 20 years ago. Okay, yeah, things have gotten. I've since I've been here, it seems like it's gotten more casual,
Mm.
and so yeah, I mean, it's October and people on the trains, guys are still sort of doing cool biz. Do you know was cool biz a thing when you were here?
No, I don't recall that.
Okay, cool biz is like it's summer. You don't have to wear a tie. You don't have to wear a coat, and so it's yeah. I think when I first came, I don't think cool biz was a thing, but it's to uh, save energy during the summer, and that's part of it. But it's
Mm.
also just because nobody wants to wear a suit in the summer, and so
Yeah, it's a matter of the company that you work for, how conservative they are.
right,
Really.
and
Yeah.
so yeah. But it's something I've sort of noticed since I've been here. It seems like things are getting more casual, and you'll still see older guys in the summer that'll put on their suit and ties and
Right.
look
Right.
hot as hell. But yeah,
Yeah. Now you're married, so does your wife have the watch bug?
no, not at all. I've got to make a video about her watch actually, just for fun. But she has an Omega Constellation,
Uh-huh.
and she's I've seen her wear it one time when we went back to the States a couple of years ago, and she wasn't going to have access to her phone, and so she wore it. But that was the only time. She's never worn it since. She's never worn it after that.
Mm-hmm.
Totally uninterested in it, and just uses,
Well,
she's just like a regular person and just uses her phone and doesn't understand
so
like
she
my
doesn't. So except for the rare occasion, she doesn't wear a watch at all.
never,
Yeah.
she never
Right.
does.
Right. That's how most people are here. When I just
Yeah,
friends I talk to, and they don't talk about watches. They don't even own a watch. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I used to be that person, I mean, I used to just walk around with my cell phone and just check it like that for up until just 2013, right?
Right.
And then I got a mechanical watch, Orient Blue Mako, started wearing it, and then I just started loving it. It was just awesome having the time so easily accessible.
Right.
But also it sort of felt like a companion in a way. There's sort of a
Mm.
companionship aspect to a watch that I like. And I feel like there's always this bit of um, beautiful aesthetics ready to be enjoyed. So you can be in any situation, and you can sort of look down, and your consciousness sort of sinks into the aesthetic beauties of the watch, and it's sort of like a Zen thing. And
Yeah. Do you
so
find? Yeah. Yeah. Do you go to Akihabara for watch shopping just to hang out and enjoy looking at everything?
I I've been meaning to check out Akihabara to see if there are watch shops there, but I haven't. Yeah, I've been to a couple of years ago, just before I was living here, when I was living in Kyushu. Yeah, I went to the Maid Cafe and check out Akihabara, but I haven't since I've moved
Yeah.
here. I
Right.
haven't been.
Right.
I
Yeah.
think I've been to Akihabara like two times. I want to say two or three
Okay.
times.
Have you? And last question: have you visited the Grand Seiko boutique in Tokyo just to
I
hang out and look at everything, or?
Yeah, the museum.
Well, they're not their main, headquarter boutique,
Yeah,
their
they
main
have.
location. Yeah.
Yeah, they have the Grand Seiko Museum. So I think maybe that's what you're talking about. And
Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
I did go there. That was pretty amazing. It's really interesting. In fact, I think I made a video about it.
Yeah.
And they've got a small sort of gift shop. But yeah, I would love to go to the factory, but I don't think they allow
Yeah.
that. So
Right.
yeah, right on.
Wow. Very good. Yeah.
All right. Well, let me ask you one more question, then we'll wrap it up, because I
Yeah.
usually
Sure.
try to keep these things to be an hour, and we're a little over. But
Oh, we can go 5 hours. It's okay.
sorry, no, I'll need some gin for that.
Right.
You might not know about that, but anyway.
I saw that. Yeah.
uh, all right. So anyway, your game plan then is just to see how the money goes, and then if you can get enough for you know, something like a Rolex or more high end, you're going to go that route. Let me just ask you, do you think you will, I guess, you know, get one at 1,000 or 2,000, or do you think you're going
Well,
to
I think
try to?
the Oris Pro Pilot date
Uh-huh.
with the bracelet in blue is a terrific watch. It looks great. It's, you know, it's totally acceptable, you know, and
Mhm.
that would be a step up for sure for my Quartz Swiss Army watch, and I'd be very, very happy with that, you know. And but if there were more money, yeah, then I would move up to. Well, I've looked at everything, and the next one after the Oris would be the Mont Blanc. There's two models of Mont Blanc. And then, depending on the money, I go for the Rolex. I chose the Rolex over the Globemaster because the
Mhm.
Globemaster is a much more beautiful, refined, elegant watch, and I just feel it's too much for
Money wise?
in terms of appearance. It's just it's too beautiful. It's too
Really? Okay.
elegant for a casual life, you know.
Okay. All
But
right.
now there's a brand new watch that I discovered a couple days ago which is just was announced. It's not in the stores yet. It's by Tissot,
Hmm.
and it's called the Tissot Gentleman. Okay, and
Hmm.
that's on their website, but it's only available through the New York boutique at this time. And it's
Unfortunate name.
a gentleman. Yeah, well, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think it's the size is right. It's like a 40. It looks very, very nice. It has super luminova. It's a dress watch style.
Hmm.
80-hour power reserve on their ETA movement because it's Tissot, you know, Swatch company, and it looked very, very nice. And the MSRP is an amazing 725, which is, you know, I know 725 means I know it's not a Breitling, I know it's not a Rolex, you know, but it's in terms of what you get for the watch, it's tremendous. So
So that could be your one watch then, possibly.
well, I was thinking the Oris would be the ideal, you know, at the lower price would be the way to go. But this watch is very, very attractive, and so when it comes out into the stores, I'll go take a look at it in person, and yeah, I'll think about it. But I have to see it,
Did-
obviously. Yeah,
Now, have you had a mechanical watch?
yeah. I had a Hamilton khaki. I bought that around 2005 or six.
Okay.
And then I moved to Seattle, and several years later, I lost it. And I don't know exactly where I lost it. I think I might have lost it at a coffee shop when I was drying off from a torrential rainstorm. And
Hmm.
I was just totally soaked completely through. And I might have taken it off to dry off my hands and everything. And then when I left, I might have left it on the counter. I don't know.
Okay.
So, but
So,
that was 450 MSRP, and I got that for 325. So that wasn't, you know, it's not a major disaster, but that
so,
was a good watch. Yeah.
so you're okay with the idiosyncrasies of a mechanical watch, you know,
Oh,
plus
sure.
or
Yeah, yeah,
minus. Okay. All right.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Right
yeah.
on. All right. Hey, well, I'm going to wrap it up now. Thanks for stopping by. Good luck with your, you know, watch quest. I'm really looking forward to see what you get, and I can't wait for you to get something. But of course, I hope you wait and get something kind of real, you know, worthy of getting. So,
Well,
but
yeah,
it's your call, of course.
yeah. Thanks for inviting me on the show, and that got me up early. So now I'm up for the day. So that's okay. And I really envy you having stayed in Japan because it's just about I haven't traveled to other countries, but I can't imagine a place that's a better place to live and enjoy your life. Just beautiful place to be, and yeah, kudos on that. Yeah,
Yeah, thanks, man. Well, if you ever, you know, find yourself in Tokyo, let me know. We'll
yeah, right. Okay, sure.
Akihabara or something.
Yeah. All righty. Very good. Thanks to all the viewers for watching the live stream this morning. A lot of regular familiar faces out there. Sure. Yeah.
Mhm. All right. Take care.
Okay. So long. Bye bye.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, guys. So there we go. First guest, and thanks to Crappy Luxury for stopping by. And yeah, what can I say? What can I say? I hope he gets. Of course, I hope he gets a Rolex, but but I don't know that he's a Rolex guy. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. 57 of you here, and I guess I'll see you guys next Sunday. Have a good night or day.